Were you aware of the issues going on with R. Kelly when they were going on?
No.
Well, no, we're not related at all. No, we're not. We're just very close. He's my best friend.
Cool.
Now, who found him? In the whole wide world.
When Aaliyah died, I was with Barry. When Aaliyah died for a wrongful death, he got paid $90 million for her death.
Aaliyah Houghton's uncle has always portrayed as if her death left him deeply aggravated and hurt. But new details about her death reveal he might have a hand in his own niece's death. Barry Hankerson and R. Kelly have been exposed for their involvement in Aaliyah's death and how they were paid $90 million to do so. Aaliyah Dana Houghton was a music icon at the age of 14, but her untimely death and her relationship with R. Kelly shocked the whole world. Now, years after her death, terrible secrets are being revealed about the singer's death. People close to her uncle Barry Hankerson are coming out with disturbing stories.
He got $90 million, he wouldn't stay at the L'Hermitage Hotel, we ate good. in deep mourning, right?
OG Piro Ayatollah Marv, who was an associate and close friend of Barry Hankerson, was with him when Aaliyah died, and it's pretty clear Barry was less than devastated by her death. In fact, he went ahead and had a very lavish dinner with friends at that time when he was apparently in mourning of her death. Barry's motivation behind getting his niece killed is really obvious: money. But why did he get paid money for Aaliyah's death? In a very shady move, Aaliyah's uncle signed an agreement just 5 days before her death, stating that if something were to happen to her, he would not be held accountable. That is an extremely odd agreement to have in the first place, but the timing makes it all the more worse. Here, Barry signs the agreement, and just 5 days later, Aaliyah passes away in a plane crash. Barry Hankerson also wasted no time in settling lawsuits after Aaliyah's death and ended up receiving a whopping $90 million. At the time of her death, Aaliyah was signed to her uncle's record label.
So he got a settlement for $90 million for her death.
Was that just for his rights or whatever he owned?
What she would have been able to make if she hadn't died.
And this $90 million was the money she would have been able to make if she had lived and continued to make music under his label. Well, this $90 million isn't the only money Barry Hankerson made out of Aaliyah's death. For years, he's owned the rights to her music, and strangely, Aaliyah's estate said they should have made money from her music after her death was completely left out. Aaliyah's mother, Diane, didn't want her music out in the first place. But if it was going to be released, she wanted her son and herself to receive some portion of the money. Now, after all these years, Barry has decided he wants to release Aaliyah's music catalog so he can make money out of it. Not only that, he signed a deal as well and completely left his sister out of it. It's criminal that Barry, who always pretends to be so sympathetic and nice to his family, has completely cut off his sister from any sort of monetary benefits from Aaliyah's music. At this point, there's no doubt that Barry had more to gain from Aaliyah's death than any other person. But some people might argue how an uncle could do that to his own niece. This isn't the first time Barry has done something shady with regards to Aaliyah. Barry was the one who introduced Aaliyah to R. Kelly. And even though the reason was to kickstart Aaliyah's music career, this one meeting was the beginning of years of abuse for Aaliyah. However, Barry says he has no clue of the relationship.
Were you aware of the issues going on with R. Kelly when they were going on?
No. No, didn't have a clue. Completely ignorant to it.
Do you think anyone in the family was?
Yes. Yes, I think my sister knew a lot more than what we thought she knew.
Despite being the one to introduce Aaliyah to Kelly and being their manager, Barry has tried to shift the blame to Aaliyah's mother. Even if he hadn't known of the abuse, it's his ignorance that allowed it to happen right under his nose. The singer Sparkle, who worked with the R&B artist at the time when Aaliyah and Kelly were allegedly married, says the same thing. In an interview, she said, "Who thought that was real? You know what I mean? I thought that was a hoax, that's not real, you know," Sparkle said. That was my naivete of thinking that it wasn't real because, like again, Barry Hankerson was there. This shouldn't and couldn't have happened. Just like the rest of us, the singer was shocked that Aaliyah would fall prey to Kelly, even when her uncle was right there. Kelly had failed to protect her. The truth, however, is far more sinister. One of Kelly's backup dancers, Jovante Cunningham, claimed that Barry knew about the relationship, but continued to keep quiet and work with Kelly for the money. Barry knew exactly what was going on. I remember coming off tour and Robert saying that he wasn't going to renew his management contract with Barry. Barry said, "If you don't renew my management contract, I'm going to pull the plug on you and Aaliyah." And Robert didn't. So I thought, and maybe 2 or 3 days later is when we found out about the marriage. I didn't know anything about it. I remember thinking to myself, "You dirty mother, you would do this to your niece? You're okay with this type of behavior?" Wow. It's clear that Barry knew about the relationship, but continued to let Kelly take advantage of his niece just so he could make some profit. In fact, he even blackmailed Kelly to keep working with him, or else he would expose the marriage. Despite everything, Barry now claims that he completely cut off contact with Kelly after finding out what he did to his niece. But that is far from the truth. Another one of Kelly's backup singers, Vestal, confirmed that Barry was in fact lying, saying, "I just remember hearing him on the radio," and Barry Hankerson, his former manager, was saying, "Oh, when I find out about him messing with my niece Aaliyah, I stopped working with him." Vestal later found out that he was lying and did in fact continue working with him. He continued with his claims. November of 1994, when I met him, Barry was still his manager. Barry ate breakfast with us. R. Kelly's involvement and motive behind Aaliyah's murder is clear as day. He got into a relationship with her when she was only 13, and just like any abuser, convicted Aaliyah to keep the relationship a secret. He was later one of his girlfriends, Lisa Van Allen, that Aaliyah and him had pins and needles relationship.
He told me about him and Aaliyah, their situation. They had a pact, pins and eyeballs, no matter what anyone said, or if anyone stuck pins in their eyeballs, they would never tell about their relationship.
No matter what happened, and regardless of how much anyone pushed them, they wouldn't accept the relationship in public. But when Aaliyah got pregnant, Kelly realized he had messed up badly. Aaliyah getting pregnant meant everyone would find out Kelly was with an underage girl. So in order to protect himself, he faked her birth certificate and married her. He later admitted the real reason for the marriage to his girlfriend, Lisa.
And the reason they got married was because they felt like if he was married to her, and if he said he thought that she was 18, that he wouldn't be charged if someone found out she was pregnant until they were able to get the abortion and get it annulled.
He secretly married her to make sure she wouldn't be able to testify against him in court if it ever came to it. Another one of Kelly's victims, Yvonne Doyle, talked about discovering a home video of Aaliyah and Kelly. She stated that he violently pushed her down the stairs when he returned to the house and realized she had been snooping in his belongings. It's clear that Kelly was abusing her during that time that they were together. Fortunately, Aaliyah's family got their marriage annulled, and Aaliyah was able to escape the predatory hold of Kelly. Years after getting out of his hold, if Aaliyah had started talking about what she had endured, Kelly's career would have been over. Kelly knew how much he had to lose from Aaliyah speaking the truth, so it isn't surprising at all that he would want her dead. Everybody around Aaliyah knew that her death in the plane crash was not an innocent incident. After her death, her production stage manager was also captured screaming that she was murdered.
They killed her! And that's what I've been saying. They killed her!
Aaliyah never even wanted to get on that plane that resulted in the horrible crash. She told her boyfriend at the time, Damon Dash, that she didn't like the plane and never wanted to get on it.
Dame recalls getting different texts from her where she wasn't comfortable. As Dame tells it, she said, "I don't like this plane." I was like, "Well, don't get on it." She was like, "Well, I got to because I got work to do."
Now there are even speculations that Aaliyah had in fact refused to get on the plane and had to be given something to calm her nerves. How she knew something was wrong will always remain a mystery, but one thing is for sure, Aaliyah's death wasn't a complete accident like we always assumed. People like her uncle and R. Kelly had much to gain from the poor singer's untimely death. One of her fans had similar sentiments when she tweeted, I don't care, Aaliyah was murdered because there's no way that plane crash was accidental. There's just no way. She was literally unconscious and off a sleeping pill when she got on that plane, and even before she fell asleep, she said she didn't want to go on that plane." That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.